today's webinar entitled Elevating the Campus Experience with a Fundamentally Better BIN. My name is Billy Zadek, Manager of Special Programs for APA. Just a couple of housekeeping items before we get started. The webinar recording will be posted to the APA webpage under the Continuous Learning tab later today. Professional continuing education certificates are being offered for today's program. Those who indicated they wanted a certificate at registration and meet the requirements will receive certificates later this afternoon. All attendees are in listen-only mode. Please type your questions in the chat box and they will be answered in the order they are received. If we run out of time and still have questions, responses will be sent directly to the person asking the question by our presenters. At this time, it's my pleasure to turn this over to Sophia. Sophia, take it away.
Thank you, Billy. Well, welcome everyone. It's fantastic to be here today with APA this year. I'm Sophia Wood, the Senior Marketing Manager here at Big Belly, and today we're going to be talking about the community of campuses who deploy the Big Belly solution to transform their campus spaces, elevate their experience, creating smarter, cleaner, and greener spaces for students, staff, and visitors. We're going to be talking a lot about our product portfolio, sharing some exciting news about our expanded solution, but most importantly, we're going to be celebrating all of you guys. So just a brief overview of the program today. First, we're going to talk about who we are. Now, most of you joining the webinar today, you guys probably already know Big Belly. You guys might already be members of our community, or you might know, nearby campuses or towns who've already deployed. But of course, for those of you who are new to APA, new to Big Belly, it'll be a good overview. And then more importantly, we're going to turn the tables and talk about you guys, the community of campuses from whom we've learned so much working with over the past 20 years. And then moving into our mission and how we support you in creating an altogether better campus and an experience for your own community. And of course, we got to go into how Big Belly works. We're going to talk about the Big Belly ecosystem and then share the exciting news about our expanded product portfolio and the different ways that you can leverage different components to meet the exact needs of your campus. And then members of the Big Belly team are going to be sharing campus stories, some really awesome case studies of members of the Big Belly community who have taken a holistic approach, a really dynamic approach to meeting the specific needs of each space and have really taken All Together Better to heart. Then we're going to wrap up with some next steps, as in how we work with campuses, how you can work with us to assess your space, create a custom deployment, and then really design something that's right for you. And then finally, as we always love to do, we're going to open the floor to some Q&A. So throughout the webinar, please feel free to throw in your questions in the chat, and we'll get to as many of them as we can. But if by the end of it, there's some we don't get to, the Big Belly team will reach out to you guys one-on-one. You guys can talk and answer those questions in person. So now I'm going to hand it over to our VP of Business Development, Jeff Satwitz. Take it away, Jeff. Welcome.
Thanks, Sophia, and thanks, Billy, for hosting us today. This is wonderful. Sophia, we lost the presentation.
There you go. Fantastic.
There we go. All right, we're back now. So a little background. Many of you are probably familiar with Big Belly, but for those of you who don't or want a little refresher, we've been in business for about 20 years now, a little over as of April of this year. We have our bins deployed in over 60 countries around the world and 1,800 wonderful customers. So, the company started as a solar compactor company, and we have expanded beyond that. We're going to be talking a little bit today about where we've gone from there. But we're really on a mission to try to help you guys all make your spaces better, whether that's your campuses or your grounds and whatnot. So, Sophia, next slide. Talking about you. This is an informational course, so we are going to be talking about our fundamentally better bin today. And really this is about how public space bins have an impact on the campus environment. And what we are going to do is we're going to talk about what we offer here to you guys to help achieve your goals of having a better campus. Next slide. As we work with our customers, we really try to figure out what's important to them. This is a kind of a generic snapshot of what we generally hear from most college campuses we talk to. We often find that our customers have found that their traditional waste solutions really don't elevate the campus experience. They're fine, they collect waste on campus, but they don't do anything to really improve the campus in general. The waste is visible and unsightly. There may be issues with litter or pests getting into the waste bins, and our customers generally want to spend less time collecting the waste if they can, and less time maintaining the bins around campus. A lot of times people are also looking to provide uniform recycling across campus. This has become a really important topic as the awareness of zero waste has grown. Students and prospective students are demanding these sort of things, so campuses are looking for ways to do that. Next slide. As we've had more and more customers kind of deploy a full-scale deployment of Big Bellies across their campuses, we've worked with them to really learn what the impact of Big Bellies have on a bin on a campus when there's a kind of properly designed deployment put forward. What we found is that when a campus deploys Big Bellies at scale and really thinks about how and where and why to put Big Belly products out there, they end up with campuses that are more beautiful, more efficient, more inviting, more sustainable. And we're really here to talk about how can we apply those learnings to your campuses and help you achieve your goals. Next slide. Sophia talked in the opening here, kind of three big facets we're going to talk about. Being cleaner, being smarter, and being greener. I think these are really things that are core to what many campuses are trying to achieve. Probably maybe what some of all your goals are in your year. On the cleaner side of things, this is probably the thing we've learned most about what the impact of putting products like Big Belly out in campus spaces can do. The webinar here is titled "The Fundamentally Better Bin." I think, what does that mean? At its core, it's about being fully enclosed. Once waste goes into the bins, as you can see here in the picture, it's completely hidden from sight and it can't come back out. So there's no visible waste, there's no litter, and there's no pest access. In addition, we've built our company on the concept of solar compactors. So our compactors hold about 5 times the capacity of a traditional waste bin. So this bin set you see here, which is 2 compactors side by side, is the equivalent of 10 bins sitting there in that space. That's a lot of capacity, preventing overflows and giving your staff a lot of flexibility to help other places in the grounds and keep other things cleaner. Next slide. We have been one of the pioneers in adding smarts into cities and campuses and other areas like that. Many of the bins we deploy out there are smart and connected to our software system, which we've branded Clean. These bins will radio in with where they are, how full they are, when they need to be collected, when they were collected, and provide a lot of data on your operation in general. So this is really about taking control of your space, getting visibility to stuff that you may not have had visibility to before. Little peace of mind knowing that you're on top of overflows, able to manage your staff better. A lot of different things can come from adding smarts into a waste deployment. You can also provide a lot of insights into what has been going on campus. Recycling diversion, overall volume levels, busy areas, non-busy areas. A lot of data is now at your fingertips to really get a better understanding of campus, where people are, where the waste is going, how to become more efficient and more effective in the future. Next slide. Greener. This is a topic that's very important to many of our university campuses. How can we all contribute to making the world a better place, a greener place, doing our part to fight climate change? A big part of what the public space bins do on campus is they help promote recycling. We found that uniform and consistent recycling across campus, and we'll talk about that in some of the customer examples later on, has a huge impact on being able to achieve zero waste and recycling diversion goals. So making sure that all of the bins are reinforcing the same message everywhere across campus gets people to change their behavior, to do the right thing more often, and has really had a huge impact on taking what would have been stuff going into the landfill and being able to divert it to a recycling station or a composting solution or whatnot. Combined with the, sorry, stay here for a sec. We talked about smarts, we talked about compactors. You combine those two together and we really give you the ability to run fewer collections. For anybody doing the collections with vehicles that may be emitting greenhouse gases, reducing your collections, reducing the fuel it takes to collect your waste can have a dramatic impact on at least the environmental impact of your waste collection operation. This is a small and kind of visible aspect of what you might be doing across other places on the campus to help achieve, environmental goals. Containing the waste also helps prevent litter, prevent wind-blown stuff from getting into rivers, lakes, oceans, and other places where we don't want litter to be. Part of being green and protecting the environment is keeping waste out of our waterways. Next slide. So that was a little overview on kind of what Big Belly does. What are we trying to do? What are we trying to talk about here on campus? We'll spend a little time now talking about how Big Belly works in particular. Go ahead. Combination of stuff. The most visible aspect of what we do are the configurable waste and recycling bins that are deployed around campus. We have a suite of bins that we'll talk to in a slide or two here to really show you kind of what the breadth of products we offer are, and some of these may be new to many of you. They can come in different waste interfaces. They can be connected to the software. They're reporting on their fullness. They can compact. They can be connected together into what we call kiosks. That is a big part of it. So the deployment that goes out into the pathways, the campus area. We then have our clean management console, which all the data feeds up into and provides insights that you can take action on to help stay on top of your campus in a better way. And that's all available to be viewed and digested through our mobile app. So you can have it on the go as you're out and about around campus through notifications and other ways to consume that data. Next slide. Fundamentally Better Bin. This is the namesake of this seminar here. As silly as it sounds, we've learned over the 20 years of our existence what kind of impact a choice and a well designed bin can have on the campus and the environment. I talked a little bit early on about us starting out as a solar compactor company, and this is still very core to what we do. We have what I'd like to think of as one of the best compactors on the marketplace. It holds a lot of waste and can really provide a lot of capacity when needed. As we were working on developing a compactor 20 years ago, we had to focus on keeping people safe. And through that journey, we developed what we call our hopper. So this is the waste interface that many of you may be familiar with on our compactor products, where when you open pull on the handle or step on the foot pedal to open up the door, you can't reach in and get at the waste. This was done to keep people and everyone else safe from the compaction mechanism inside. Through that, we've started to really become aware of the power of fully enclosed waste bins and what they can do even beyond compactors. So we now offer a suite of bins that all can come fully enclosed, even if they don't have a compactor. And we have a bunch of other core features that are kind of fundamental to our bins. So foot pedal for hands-free use. It is an enclosed bin, so you do have to interact with it to get your waste in there. We try to make that as pleasant an experience as possible with a nice ergonomic handle and a foot pedal that's safe and convenient to use. We've tried to build bigger capacity into the bins you put out there. Our standard bins come with a 50-gallon liner inside, and the compactors can hold multiple times that. A lot of what you'll see in some of the pictures here and whatnot is the graphics and the visuals that can go on the outside of the bins to really customize them, to reinforce campus messages, to personalize them for the campus environment. The sides, the front, the back of these are a great vehicle for putting either wraps on or message panels. Most of our college campuses will deploy in what we call kiosks, so that these bins will connect together seamlessly to form what looks like a kind of a one unit, even though it's multiple bins, allowing you to put different waste types out there and have it be that cohesive and uniform recycling solution. As far as options, or what we're calling options here, there's different levels of interfaces and different levels of fully enclosed that we can deploy on the products. We can add the software connectivity to places where that's really valued. There's an LED fullness indicator on the front of most of our bins. And for many of our customers, people have really enjoyed the compactor in the places where it's most applicable. Next slide. So here's the suite, and this is probably the piece of this that will maybe be news for many of you. As we've worked with our customers, we've often sold and had conversations with many people about our compactors. That's the one you see here all the way on the right-hand side, our SmartMax. These are solar-powered compactors connected to our software, providing a ton of capacity, a ton of capability, a really fantastic product and something that a lot of campuses have really enjoyed deploying. As we've gone down that journey with folks and people have started to see the impact of putting those compactors out there, we've been trying to work with our customers and figuring out, well, how do we have that same impact everywhere on campus? And not everywhere on campus needs compactors. Not everywhere on campus maybe needs that sort of smart connectivity. There are going to be areas on campus where our customers want the enclosed nature of the bin, the protection that gets from litter and pests, the uniform recycling look, without some of the cost and complexity that comes with deploying compactors or units that are connected to the software. So all the way on the left-hand side of the screen here is what we're calling our element. As you can see here, these all look roughly the same. Someone passing by on campus really wouldn't know the difference between an element and a SmartMax and any of the ones on here. They're intended to look cohesive, have the same feel across campus. But the one on the left is going to be our lowest cost offering at a price point that Big Belly has really never been at before. Here we're targeting to be at or below what many of the traditional ornamental bins may cost that are around campus. So we're trying to be able to say, all right, here's the impact we're having with our compactors. How do we have that same impact everywhere? How do we help our customers achieve that kind of environment everywhere on campus, even the places where a compactor or a smart unit isn't needed? In the middle here, we've branded these two things, Sense and SenseMax. The Sense is a fullness sensing bin, not a compactor. The SenseMax is a compacting bin. Neither of these are connected to our software, but they will blink the light on the front when they've reached a fullness that needs to be collected. We'll talk a little bit later about how and when you might think about where to deploy these on campus, but think of these as anywhere where you have collection staff in the area all the time, and they just want to be aware of when the bins need to be picked up. The two on the right, the Smart and the SmartMax, these are kind of our bread and butter. These are what we've really been on the market with and probably you're most familiar with. Still great products. Lots of places on campus where these are the right solution. You're going to get a ton of data from the smarts and the connectivity. You'll get the most capacity. So for any areas where you have a busy, student body, pedestrians, maybe areas where there's other waste needs, these are really great products to deploy there. So the point here is we've tried to work with our customers. We've tried to understand what you guys are looking for us to bring to help you out. And we have a whole suite of products that extend farther than we had before that we can talk to you about and how to help improve your campus experience. Next slide. Paired with our bins is the software platform I talked about, Clean. It's all cloud-based, so there's nothing to install in your campus IT systems. It's browser-based, fire it up, and we can go at it. The bins don't need to interact with any of the IT on campus. They're all dealing with each one has a little cell phone in it. So there's really not a lot of setup that needs to go on to get smarts into the campus environment. You can do it without really involving IT or any other places around campus. Couple things here. We have a management console where you can get dashboards and reports and really manage the system. And you can access that in a lot of different ways. A lot of our customers really appreciate having emails and collection requests go directly to them. We all have a million different things that we log into every day. Adding another one can sometimes be a burden. We try to make that easy by sending you the information you may need right there and right then. For folks that are on the go, maybe it's collection staff that are providing grounds duty as well. We have a mobile app where people can, from their phone or tablet, log in and get information about what's going on with the bins. A lot of the information can be exported out of our system and into Excel or other applications to perform some additional analysis. And we do have API integration if there's any kind of campus-wide dashboards and systems that we can integrate into. Happy to do that as well. Next slide. Little deeper dive into what the software does and what this might be able to do for you. We'll start with the dashboard. So when you land on our web app, this is what you're presented with. It's kind of a quick hit of what's going on campus. You'll see that all the bins you have, how many of them are full right now, any that are at risk of overflow, which may need some more urgent attention, and then some historic data on what's been going on in your fleet. You'll see overall recycling diversion in both total gallons and percentage. In the one that's showing up here, you can see there's both trash and recycling. If you have three streams will show up there. So it really provides you with the data at a quick glance to know how are we doing on our recycling diversion goals. At Big Belly, we've kind of focused ourselves a lot on efficiency. How can we help you be more efficient in your waste collection? In the middle graphs here, we'll talk a little bit about how efficient you're being. Are you picking up the bins when they need to be picked up? Are you picking them up too soon? And helping you to see at a glance, has our efficiency been within our target goals? And in the bottom right, we also have a graph showing greenhouse gas emission reduction, should that be something that that's applicable in your case. On the collection management side, the smarts, people think about, why would I have my waste bins connected to software? And a lot of this is around collection management. How can I be more effective and efficient at picking up waste so I can spend more time doing other things that are more value added? We have real-time information on fullness status. We have historic information around when collections were made, how many collections were made. You can look in a daily basis on what the staff is doing at different times, whether they were on top of the bins, whether there were any bins that were missed that you need to address separately. Really a lot of tools for collection management. A lot of campuses are big, sprawling places made with many different people involved in the collection system. And this lets you, from one central location, really help manage those bins across campus. Next slide. Digging a little deeper, that's kind of I would say the obvious part about why you'd have bins connected into the software. Digging a little deeper, we are deploying technology out there. We're deploying bins that sense fullness. They have maintenance needs related to sensors and batteries. We have compactors out there. In order for that system to be running at peak operation and peak optimization, we want to give you the tools to be able to manage that fleet. Where are your bins? What's the status of them at any one time? Are there any service alerts that you need to stay on top of? Help you get, stay on top of maintenance. Try to make it as easy as possible to deploy technology where previously there wasn't technology before. We're replacing a relatively basic basket with a little bit more of a sophisticated system. The software helps give you the tools to stay on top of that to make it less burdensome of a process. And then managing the individual bins. We have a lot of tools, a lot of data coming off of the bins. You'll know asset information as far as serial number, service status. You'll be able to configure them, set them up into different groups around campus if you want to, give them names that make it more obvious about when a notification comes in from that bin, where it is, get diagnostics on any performance issues. And we have a service history where you can flag service issues, report on cleanings and whatnot, and do that both on the web app and through our mobile app. Talk about kiosks a little bit here. This is something that is really, really prevalent in university settings, having more than one waste stream. What you see on the screen here is the Octobelly. It's probably an extreme example. Many of our university customers will deploy maybe 2 or maybe 3 bins connected in one. All of our bins are designed to mix and match, very modular. So you can have compactors connected to non-compactors, you can have different waste interfaces, you can have different waste streams all in one, seemingly uniform kiosk. So we have 5 different waste streams we offer: waste, single stream recycling, paper, bottles and cans, and organics. And there's a few different waste interfaces that you can use to deploy to collect those waste streams. Next slide. These are the 3 different waste interfaces we offer. As we think about designing a campus experience and thinking about your goals and what you're trying to achieve, our team will work with you on kind of which waste interface is right for your goals. Each one of these interfaces is available in a bunch of different waste streams, so we can understand, all right, what kind of waste streams are you trying to collect on campus? What's the recycling program that you may be looking to deploy? What are your goals for enclosure? The hopper interface on the left-hand side is our kind of most enclosed system. This comes standard on all of our compactors, but can be put on our non-compactors if you want to. There's, the waste goes in, it's truly not visible. When you open up the hopper, you can't see into the waste bin, you can't reach into the waste bin. There's no access for rats or other pests to get at the waste. Waste is size controlled, so maybe this isn't a huge issue in central campus, but on the outside of campus, this may be a way to prevent illegal dumping, prevent people from bringing their household waste and putting it into the waste bins, because the size of the opening is very limited. It does allow on the compactors to have waste disposal when compacting. This was kind of one of the founding principles of how we developed this waste interface in the first place. And there's no access for people to reach in and get at the bottles and cans inside, which can help deter them from maybe being in the campus environment. In the middle here is what we're calling our chute interface. This has been around for a little while on our non-compactors, but is new for our compactors, and I think can be an interesting use case for some places where maybe folks have had experience with our products and wanted something a little bit different. So the chute on the outside looks nearly identical to a hopper. Still has a handle, still has a foot pedal, still completely contained. When the door opens, you do have direct access into the waste bin inside. Still no access for rats and pests, but this can be better for a little bit larger items if you need to deposit them. There is no kind of size limit, less size limit, I guess, than in the hopper interface. So a little bit larger items can be put in here. We've had people come to us and interested in maybe in and around eating establishments with pizza boxes or other trays that may be provided at the cafeteria. From a safety standpoint, these will lock when they're compacting, so there's still no safety issue here. These are standard on our non-compacting units and can be an option to put on our compacting units. So this is a new offering we have in the marketplace now. I'm happy to talk to you, and our sales team can help guide which interface is right on our compactors and non-compactors. We do offer an open interface. This is available in 4 waste streams: trash, single stream, paper, and bottles and cans. We don't offer the open interface for compostable material because we really try to keep rats and pests out of that material. It's our lowest cost offering. So for areas where containment isn't needed, this can be a great option to put on the non-compactors. It's not available on the compactor for somewhat obvious reasons. You can reach right in and there wouldn't be any protection from the compaction mechanism inside. But it's still kind of better than an open top bin. It will keep rainwater out. The waste is still hidden in, less visible. You can still have that kind of uniform recycling across campus, and still have all the messaging and stuff on the outside of the bin if necessary. Next slide. As our team works with you, can be a number of different accessories we can talk about to help customize your deployment for your station. We talked a little bit about you can pick the right bin, you can combine bins together, You can pick different waste interfaces on them, and then there's a number of different accessories we can bring out to the market to help you out as well. First and foremost, we have graphic wraps and message panels. These are really, really popular in university environments. They let you really tune the message on maybe recycling or sustainability, put some campus flair on there, some campus pride in many cases. Really helps you kind of tune the bins to your campus environment. Kind of behind the scenes, we do offer a wheeled lift bin that can go inside both our compactors and our non-compactors. These will interface with assisted lift trucks so that it can reduce any sort of ergonomic issues, or if the bin needs to be a little bit of a distance away from the collection vehicle, this can help the collection staff wheel it over to there rather than trying to drag it or carry the bin or the bag. Most of our products are deployed outside. This is where we've made our the majority of our deployments, but we do have a number of indoor deployments. And as you think about the campus environment, there may be areas where you want to start bringing this same sort of system inside. We do offer indoor bins. There's on the compacting units where there's higher power use, we have an AC adapter. Our non-compacting units are all battery operated, so they can operate indoors or outdoors. We have all of our bins come with a standard key, metal key to keep the bins locked and secure. For people that need more security than that, we do offer key card locking access. So this can help if there are problems with with people getting at the bins, or you want better data around who's collecting the waste and when. That can be a good thing for our sales team to talk to you about. We do offer a variety of smoking accessories. I know there's a big motion to kind of keep smoking, stop smoking stuff. But if there are areas around campus where smoking is a problem and the alternative of having cigarettes on the ground is worse than having ashtrays in the bins, we can talk to you about that. We have a lot of our customers in Europe that use this for exactly that, to keep cigarette butts out of the water, out of the grounds. So happy to talk about that with you as well. We do offer locking, so that chute interface I talked about has a lock built into it. It's used to lock the unit when it's compacting, but it can also be locked for other reasons. We can lock it out at different times of day. We can lock it out when it's full, or we can lock it out for special events if you don't want people to get at the waste during that time period. For security events, we do offer, because these are enclosed units, we can lock down the units during a security event. Maybe there's a special person that's on campus and there's a lot of security around that. Rather than removing the bins from campus, we can lock them down with plates that go over the openings and help to kind of get back up and running on your waste system as soon as the security event is done. And we do offer an odor mask as well. Think of this as the kind of a bathroom deodorizer. It just helps keep the units smelling nice, fresh for the people to use. Not necessarily in every bin. Could be potentially a useful thing in and around eating areas where people are trying to eat, but they want the waste bin at a convenient place near there. Next slide. All right, so we talked a little bit about what the bins are, how we put them out there. We're going to talk a little bit about what is Big Belly doing for campuses, and why are we all here today talking about this. We see public space bins as a way to elevate the campus experience. As you walk into a campus, the first thing you're met with is the buildings, the grounds, and the bins that you see in and around there. So this is kind of one of those initial initial reactions people have when they enter the campuses. What are the bins like? What's the campus experience? We're trying to help prevent windblown litter and overflows, so keeping the campuses more beautiful. We don't want any rats or pests anywhere near the campus, so these bins can be deployed to help keep those out there. We have lots of great studies around when you put a Big Belly out and it reduces the waste, the food source for rats and other pests, their populations go down dramatically. So any place that's having issues, in particular with rats and other birds getting at the waste, really great solution to help improve the campus experience with that. Making it yours, wrapping it, getting that messaging out there, making it really pop when people see the bins. This is something that can be really exciting as you enter onto campus. Reducing collections. There's going to be fewer collection vehicles going around picking up the waste, fewer disruptions from that, less greenhouse gas emissions. And then I think, one of the things we've heard from a lot of our customers is Big Belly is a really visible way to show that the campus is doing something about environmental and sustainability goals. There's going to be a lot of other initiatives on campus related to building design, to heating and cooling systems and whatnot that are somewhat invisible to the people that are out there, but really important. Putting Big Belly out there is a really, really good and visible way to show that the campus cares, the campus is doing the right things. And if you want to learn more, we can talk to you a lot about what else is going on the campus about sustainability. Next slide. The university setting, there's a lot of different areas around the university. One of the things our sales team will go in there is help you all figure out which bins should we put in which places. A lot of our customers have deployed our Smart Max or our compacting bins. A lot of these are in and around dining hall areas. These are the heavy waste places around campus, the places where that smarts, the compaction is really going to have a lot of impact. As you start going down the pathways and near the residence halls, we'll help work with you on a mix of smart bins, Smart Maxes in the places where you need compaction, and sprinkling in some of those elements I was talking about earlier, the kind of newest, lowest cost part of our portfolio to help make a complete campus waste system, but at a price point that's as reasonable as we can for the full deployment. Shifting to stadium areas, a lot of times in a stadium, there's not the same kind of day-to-day 24/7 waste system. It's really about these couple-hour period of time where there's a lot of people and a lot of waste needs. It can be a great time and a great place to deploy those Sense products I was talking about earlier. The ones where there's a light on the front that tells you when it needs to be picked up. So the event staff that's running around, they can just keep their eyes out for those LEDs popping on. Doesn't need to be any sort of operational burden to set them up and run them. But just watch the LEDs. When the LEDs come up, go collect that bin. Really put these out. You can move them around in and around the stadium setting. Could be a great way to think about looking at making the operation around the stadium more efficient. Next slide.
All right, thanks so much, Jeff.
Yeah.
So now we're going to move into our campus stories section where we're going to be talking, members of the Big Belly team are going to be talking about some different case studies, some different campuses in our community who have deployed Big Belly in unique ways for them. First, Jeff's going to head it off with a story about UC Berkeley. Then we're going to introduce John Bustamante, our West Coast Regional Sales Director, to talk about UC San Diego. And then our Southeast Regional Sales Manager, Heath MacArthur, to talk about GMU. So as mentioned, we have an amazing community of universities nationwide and worldwide, from large public universities to small private universities and everybody in between. So now I'm going to pass it over to Jeff for our UC Berkeley customer story.
Sure. Thanks, Sophia. I promise I'll stop talking soon and you'll hear from other people. I know it's good to have other voices around here. We've done a couple of really great webinars in the past with APA. We did one in April of 2021 where Lynn King from UC Berkeley, which I'm going to talk about a little bit here, Mark Helms from University of Florida talked a little bit about their stories. And then we did one in June of 2022 where Carly Reiser from University of Illinois Chicago talked about their story. So anybody that wants to go and learn a little bit more about other customers' deployments of Big Belly, please go back and you can, through the APA website, find these webinars and see them for yourself. Hear firsthand from these people what they were doing, what they were trying to achieve from Big Belly. I'm going to give a brief overview of what Lynn King talked about in his story on UC Berkeley, but please, if you're interested, go and view that for yourselves. They were really, really interested in all the stuff we were talking about early on here. Litter and pests were a concern. They wanted a clear and consistent recycling system on campus. They wanted the waste to be enclosed, especially for organics. They were deploying campus-wide organics collection, and they wanted to be able to measure their recycling rates. So we were able to work with them, put out a solution that was able to give, you can see here kind of in the upper right corner, these triple stations. So single stream recycling, trash, and organics, with messaging on the front about what should go in each bin, messaging on the side about the campus, and they were able to then deploy a very consistent, uniform recycling system around campus. What Lynn found through that was they got better diversion rates than they had before. They could measure this through the software. Because there were 3 bins side by side, they were all consistent, they were all uniform. There was messaging on the front about what would go in the different bins. They found a lot lower contamination rate than they had seen before. And they really appreciated the consistent and beautiful look across campus. So I think this is, a great example of a campus thinking about all the different ways that the public space bins can impact the campus environment, putting together a good plan. It didn't happen overnight. There were a couple different phases they went through to try it, to expand, and then to go campus wide. And if you want to listen to Lynn talk about all that stuff, his history there, the webinar we did in April of 21 would be a great thing to listen to. And with that, I will kick it over to John.
Great. Take it away, John.
Good morning, everybody. I appreciate your attention. I'm going to share a little story about UC San Diego. They've been a customer of ours for quite some time. In 2010, they launched a zero waste plan where they really wanted to take 20 points and look at ways to kind of reduce the amount of trash that they have, reuse, and then track all of their diversion. So they put together this group that consisted of the UC staff. They had the city, the county, and the students all involved. And as they looked at their bullet points, one of the things that they were trying to solve, as Jeff already talked about, is, the traditional bins just not support the recycling and zero waste goals that they had. They had open bins that we've already talked about with visible waste and windblown litter and critters that can get into them and so on and so forth. They had lack of insight. So because of that, they were utilizing staff to run around and really collect. At the end of the day, in 2012, they awarded Big Belly the opportunity to partner with them on campus, and their initial deployment was 25 bins. They utilized the SenseMax, as you can see on the picture there on the right. These are around their transit stations where there's high population of people that come in and out. The challenge they had was the campus is spread over 1,200 acres, servicing 43,000 students and staff. So it's just a big job. And so the goal was, how can we do more with less? Staffing issues that everyone is faced with, and how are we going to effectively create an environment where we can go out and really service these bins when we need it. So the analytics that they were getting from a connected campus environment using our clean dashboard really provided them the ability to be in control of all of their waste streams. And so they've launched this initiative to go out and really make the campus a greener, cleaner, and smarter environment. And they have been working on that bit by bit. They currently have a diversion rate of 60%. Their goal is 90. So today, they are diverting 60% of the waste that they have on campus, and it is not going into a landfill. The good news for them is that they were recognized in 2023 by the California Center for Sustainable Energy as an outstanding sustainable organization of the year. And they continue to grow, they continue to partner, they continue to add services with Big Belly. A most recent purchase last month is related to SB 1383 in California as it relates to organic waste. They ordered 20 bins to add to their environment in high traffic areas near student housing, food service locations, so they could add that third element, so to speak, to the environment that they have to keep their campus clean. So they increased the capacity, they empowered the team to go out and really just take control of all of the trash, not wasting any time. Their diversion rates are continuing to rise with a goal of 90% by 2023, all the way to 2030, where they hope to be at 90%. So it really put the control for all of the employees, the students, the staff, a cleaner environment. They're excited about the continued growth with Big Belly, and we're excited to have them as a partner for over a decade. So appreciate you joining. I hope that the information that we provided is something that we can carry on additional conversations. I know there are going to be questions at the end, and there's time for that. But with that said, I'll turn it over to Heath.
All right, thank you, John. That's fantastic. So I cover 8 states in the Mid-Atlantic plus the District of Columbia. A lot of universities are our partners. Great businesses to work with. They're fantastic. So I had a lot I could choose from. George Mason kind of made sense, just that they are a relatively new customer. I love George Mason. I love all my schools, just in case whoever's on the call. George Mason, they are great. That they engaged us. Boy, I started talking with George Mason 4 or 5 years ago. We talked to a number of different entities on campus, and initially the picture, the upper right that you see, was kind of what they wanted to get going as just their kind of their cornerstone to putting Big Belly in the campus. And for an example, they went above and beyond. It was super cool. In the first installation, they did the mainstream landfill with recycling, both high capacity, so compaction, full wraps, which you can see the images on the stations, which just look wonderful. Message panels that you can't see but are on the sides, and then they added the 3rd unit within the same year for compost. So they totally went 100% in on an example of what Big Belly can do for the campus. And they were looking at a couple of things. It's a large campus in the heart of Fairfax, Virginia, so it's a very populated area, a lot of attention on Northern Virginia. It's about 900 acres, give or take, so it's a sizable campus, and it's one of 3 different locations they have. So this is really the cornerstone of the relationship with Big Belly and George Mason. But they wanted a couple of things. One, their collection efficiency. They've got, again, fairly large campus, a lot of walking paths, a lot of containers, hundreds all throughout the campus. And so they knew pretty quick that, okay, well, the compaction, the capacity would help them tremendously. They also wanted the data, knowing when to pick up, when not to pick up. And then they wanted the analytics, because this is something they saw the long-term vision, and they wanted to know how could Big Belly improve everything they're doing in terms of diversion rates, collection efficiency. So just a great example of how they are fully utilizing everything that Big Belly has to offer. The initial order then went from sustainability. There's a sustainability team which got us onto the campus. The second wave of stations encompasses or is really more focused on their student centers, and we started with one. And again, this goes back to where they are taking advantage of everything Big Belly has to offer. So that in the student center, the first one they picked, their largest center, they have indoor, outdoor, double stations, single stations. They're doing high capacity. They're doing hoppers, foot pedals on the high capacity. Obviously, you have to, and anything outdoors. Indoor, they have a combination of high capacity and open face plates in the food areas. So they're really taking advantage of all the offerings that we have. And you know, a couple of things that we are proud of. Again, we are fundamentally a better bin. So we take what we have and we offer so much more with our capacity, our compaction, the look, the feel. And then on top of that, they realize that we have a bin for every location, which is awesome. So we take a look at where they want to go, and then we figure out the right confines, the right structure, the right makeup that makes sense for that particular location. They have another order, so that they are up to about 70 some, and I think it's inside units to date, and that's a combination of what's on campus, doubles, singles, triples. They have another order on the way right now that is a combination of doubles and triples. They are learning what makes sense where they're learning, where high capacity makes sense, where it doesn't make sense. So it's just, they are a great partner. I love the fact that I work with the sustainability group, and most of the campuses, most of the individuals on the call right now get it, that you have a sustainability group on campus. I work with student centers. Student centers also manage their athletic facility, which is a 10,000 seat state-of-the-art arena that we'll be looking at some point. So that's going to be a real cool application. And it goes back to what Jeff was referring to earlier, that we'll figure out what makes sense for that area. So there's a lot to go, and their intent is to make us the provider on campus. Lots of open bins. The containment was huge. They do have a problem with animals. Northern Virginia, with lots of woods, lots of trees. You've got all kinds of critters. So our containment helps a lot with that. The bottom right picture, they are like every other campus trying to figure out, well, how do we offer opportunity to divert the different categories of trash. I'm not making fun of them, but I know a lot of your campuses have something similar to that, but it doesn't work in the sense that we're human. We walk up the quickest hole we can find, we just dump it in whatever we have, and so they're rethinking all that, and I think that's part of why they appreciate our simplicity and what we can do for their environment. So it's great that they are a work in progress, and they brought us in to be part of that change fundamentally on campus. But I think, I mean, just they are the wraps. I was going to say I was about done, but the wraps, the other thing they've done, all the stations, the fact that they take advantage of the different offerings, the different configurations, compaction, non-compaction, open faceplates, hoppers, foot pedals, but the wraps, the last go around for the student center, you see the top screen, the bottom left is this one example of about 6 different configurations that came up for the wraps. Those are all on-campus photos, self-generated sayings on each one. So I mean, they've just done a great job and really taken advantage of what Big Belly can bring to the table to enhance the collection of waste in any environment. We make trash pretty, and they are totally making it fit their environment, and so it's a thrill to work with them. Sophia, I think that's it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Heath. So I'm going to pass this one back to Jeff, talking about next steps, how we work with campuses to assess, design, and deploy. Take it away, Jeff.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, Heath and John. You guys have just heard from 2 of our wonderful team of people here at Big Belly that help our customers. If you're interested in learning more, this is kind of what we do with each one of our customers. We start with not trying to sell you anything, but really try to understand what your objectives and goals are, talk to you about what you're trying to achieve, learn about what you're doing on campus, what's going well, what you need some help with, and we will then help you assess your space and your operations, figure out a solution that will work for you, try to help you, guide you through the offerings that we have, pick out the right ones for your campus, put the right thing in the right place, and our team is really well suited to do that with all of you guys. And then we'll work on implementing. And we heard from Heath and John, who are kind of at the front end of this. We have a fantastic operations team here, from manufacturing the bins to installing them if necessary, helping with service, ongoing service needs and whatnot. So we are here to be your partner in your public space waste solutions, from understanding what you want it to be, how to design it to meet your campus goals, how to help your waste solution elevate the on-campus experience, and then keep it working for years to come.
Awesome. Thank you. So now we're going to move on to some Q&A. Now we're going to bring up some questions. All right. So this question is about environmental standards in the design. So the question is, what environmental standards in the design manufacturing are you referring to? So are we talking about our manufacturing, outside environmental regulations like SB? Jeff and John, you guys are in a pretty good position to answer that one.
So from a from an I guess environmental standpoint on what goes in and out of the bins, we've tried to make the outside size so that it accepts the waste that you would have in a walk around campus type environment. So they're sized to handle the general recycling, organics, and trash that people would be carrying around with them in public spaces, not beyond that. All of our bins are, compliant with using materials that are not hazardous. There's nothing leaking out of the bins. So from a local environment standpoint, we talked about litter. Leaks around the bins are another aspect. So all the waste that goes into the bin stays in the bin, and that's a really big impact on the environment in and around the bins.
Awesome. So next question, is your product being used in any schools or universities in Texas?
Yeah, we have some wonderful Texas customers. I'm trying to think of what was on the list earlier. I know UNT, University of North Texas, is in there. A number of different, I think University of Houston, a number of different schools in Texas. So if you're in Texas and you're interested, certainly happy to talk with you. We've had a number of schools in the Texas area that have joined on the Big Belly community and have had an impact on their campus.
Yep, definitely UNT. And can I have a copy of the presentation slides? Yes. Billy will distribute a webinar replay as well as a PDF of our slides. So all good. Yes, you will be getting those. What parameters can be collected using the Clean application for data?
We have a lot of data on your waste operations. We touched on a number of those during the presentation here. We do have some information on our website if you want to kind of get some more on what is or is collected there. Key data we have is everything around the waste collection. So fullness of the bins, how often they get full, when they were collected, how often they're collected, what their fullness was when they were collected. Whole vibrant data set on essentially the waste flow around campus. And one of the interesting things we've seen with that is it's a really good correlation with people flow around campus. So where there's people, there's waste. And so you can see where the busy spots are in your waste system or where the busy spots are in the pedestrian flow in and around campus. So it's really insightful metric to look at that. We also have a lot of information around diversion, both in relative ratio on the different waste streams as well as over time. So a whole bunch of information you can get from that. Yeah, a ton of good data can come from the software. Happy to get into deeper conversations if you'd like to.
Yeah, I have to call out this question, which is UGA Go Dogs. So, I mean, entirely appropriate. Thank you. Awesome. Go Dogs. I love it. So quick, can you provide a product price list? And, we can answer. So really working with our team is the best way to assess, design, and quote a deployment that's the right size for you. There's so many aspects of it that go into it. So working with the Big Belly sales team, it'll be easier for you guys to get, a proper deployment build out and a quote. So certainly we'll get in touch with you about that. Let's see. On a compacting bin, how do you empty it? I'm assuming there's no liner. So can we talk a little bit about how to empty a max bin?
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of people have a perception of what comes out of a compactor being some sort of, 1,000-pound cube of waste. This is not that kind of thing. I think of our compactors as the equivalent of if you take your bin in your kitchen and want to get some more stuff in there and you're stomping on it with your feet. That's what we're doing. We're taking coffee cups and paper bags and squishing them flat. It's not turned into some sort of cube. Generally, we see the weight of those bins be 20 to 30 pounds. It's generally a lot of air that we're compacting out. We're keeping all the rainwater out, keep in mind, so the bins aren't as heavy as they might be in a normal setting. The collection process on that as a result is very standard to a normal bin. There's a bin inside, you pull it out. A lot of times people will use bags just to keep it clean and tidy inside. Otherwise, you can just take the bin and dump it into the back of the truck. As I talked about, we do have a lift bin that can be deployed as well, where the truck can do the lifting for you. So really very familiar process, very similar to a normal bin, just with a more efficient waste compaction inside it.
Great, thank you. And so I love this question. How long do the graphics on the wraps hold up to the elements, and how well?
We've had lots out there. Heath and John, I don't know if you guys have any stories of customers of yours where you've seen wraps, out there for years, but they're intended to be, essentially permanent, but they can be reapplied over time as well.
Yeah, UC Berkeley has had them on there for at least 6 years. And what they have done is they've added side panels to some of them for interchangeable messaging, but they've got a crew that wipes down those stations on a regular basis. So, after 6 years, they look great. There are some out there on campus that are a little bit older than that, but they're still looking pretty good.
Yeah, in fact, I'm in the Outer Banks right now, and I've got a customer, North Carolina, Outer Banks, where they have stations on a boardwalk on a sound side, not ocean side, but sound side, up against the elements, and they're just now looking at refreshing their units, and they are 8, 9 years old. They actually look pretty good, surprisingly, and they've been under the worst weather conditions for a good 8, 9 years. So,
Awesome, thank you. Can you provide me with any case studies from previous and present customers? Yes, we absolutely can. We'll get in touch with you. I think one great way to see living case studies is to watch previous APA webinars with UC Berkeley, University of Florida, and UIC. So more than happy to reach out to you, share a bunch of different case studies from different universities, both written and live, or recorded rather. So what is the lifespan of each bin? And can we talk about leasing versus owning options?
Yeah, so we offer both, rental and purchase. We generally talk about, as Heath said, a customer in a challenging environment looking to refresh their bins after 8 or 9 years. That's a very kind of common theme we hear. I think we generally talk about our bins having about a 10-year lifetime. There's lots out in the world that are well past that. But as you're talking about refreshing the campus look, making sure that we're staying on top of current trends in different recycling metrics, probably thinking about it in the 10-ish year time frame would be about the right thing.
Yeah, they live a long life. And so, next question: do you have any customers?
Hold on, Sophia, hold on real quick. The other part of that question, they asked about leasing versus purchasing. And I'll give a great example. It goes back to George Mason. So yes, we offer both. Engage us, and we can go into lots of detail. Engage the sales team, and we'll be more than happy to go into details on for each option. George Mason, the two groups I work with, one has a yearly fund. They've got a yearly allocation of money to spend. The other group, they work off of grants. So they purchase one way, the other side purchases a different way. The cool thing is that even though some are on a lease, some are capital, they're all under the same software. They're all under the same visibility. It's the same grouping. So we will work with you to figure out whatever makes sense to you, your financial needs, whatever works, we'll figure it out.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Heath. Yep, entirely yes. So we'll have time for about 1 or 2 more questions. One, do you have any customers in Canada? And the answer is absolutely yes, both East, West Coast, and Central Canada. John and Jeff, is there anything you'd like to add about our Canadian neighbors?
No, we have bins in over 60 countries around the world. We pride ourselves in being able to operate in any environment. We have software as far as the communications on the bins. We have partnerships in all the different countries we operate in. So a lot of great customers in a lot of different places in and around Canada. In the French Canada section, we do offer our software translated into French. So it can be localized for your own environment.
Yeah, and we do have Simon Fraser University up in Canada, who is continuing to expand. We've got an order that's going up there where they are actually expanding their current fleet of stations today.
Awesome. Thank you. So the last question we'll answer today, and again, anything we didn't get to, we'll follow up with you directly and talk with you to answer all of your questions. So do you have any solar bins deployed in the New England environment, and how do the solar panels hold up in a New England environment, specifically with, overcast environments and with snow?
Sure. When we first started in the company, we did a lot of testing on essentially urban solar environments. There's tons of really great data in the world on rooftop solar, how much energy is coming in and hitting rooftop solar panels, but those are panels in idealized conditions, right? No shading, no tree cover, no buildings nearby. We had to do a lot of testing on what the environment was like on a solar panel. You see a great example of the picture here. This is a solar panel in the shade. How much energy is coming into that solar panel when it's in the shade like that? It's not zero. There's still light there. If you were standing there, it wouldn't be darkness. So we tried to understand in and around campus and city environments, what was the real solar energy available at a street level, and then tune the system to that. So each one of these bins, solar panel on the top to charge it. Inside is a battery that holds the reserve energy to operate. We generally have about a month or so worth of reserve energy stored inside the bin. This lets us do a couple of different things. It lets us weather time periods where there may be lower solar or higher use for a period of time. It also, in the New England states, we're based at just outside of Boston. Snowfall happens. When the snow lands on the bin, it'll block the panel for generally a few days until the wind comes, blows some of the snow off, sun comes out, melts it off a little bit. Generally, the tops of the bins will clear off in a matter of a couple of days. We have plenty of energy stored inside to continue to operate for that period of time.
Thank you. Well, thank you guys so much. That was awesome. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. It really, APA is truly one of our favorites. You guys are always an incredibly engaged community, and we're looking forward to speaking with each and every one of you, following up on your questions. We'll certainly follow up. To get in contact with us, you can visit bigbelly.com, send an email to info@bigbelly.com, or give us a call. We're always around. Honestly, it's so much fun to work with the campus community. And thank you, Billy and APA. And thank you, Jeff and Heath and John. I'm so happy that multiple members of the Big Belly team are with us today.
Thanks again, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.